What's up, guys? We're going to do a video that's kind of out of the ordinary. We're going to talk about Wolfman and I guess the fan base and expectations versus reality. It's going to be a fun discussion. So anyway, let's get into it. What is up, guys? This is a video that I wasn't planning on making, but I guess the inception of this idea was I find that most of the time when I come out of any horror movie, and if I say to myself, everybody's gonna like this, more times than not, it goes the other way, which makes me question my own taste in movies. And I've actually done like a live stream a couple of years ago called Do I Have Bad Taste in Movies? Now, do I think I have bad taste in movies? No, I can tell when a movie does things right. And also, I think there's a thing of liking a movie, but still being able to acknowledge that there might be bad aspects. And I hate using that word bad. It's all art. But I can understand when I like something and somebody else maybe doesn't like something. Like Halloween Ends, okay? And there's been so much freaking controversy in the horror community about that movie. And yet again, here's a movie that I can kind of compare to, I guess, the reaction to that movie. Not necessarily that I came out of Halloween Ends thinking that everybody was going to like it, because they took some mad swings in that movie, some crazy chances. So yeah, that one I understand. But this one, I think the reason being is because the original Wolfman, did that come out in the 40s, 50s? I think 40s, something like that. The Wolfman 2010 did not really like shake the earth or anything, even though I will say I do like that movie. I think it's underrated. I think if you want your tried and true Wolfman movie, that's your movie. I would tell you to go to that movie over this movie any day if you're wanting just, you know, a Universal Monsters movie, okay? That's the movie you go to. But do I like this movie more than the Wolfman 2010? Maybe, but it all depends on expectations. Now, first off, let me get this out there. I am not here to try to tell you that you are wrong for not liking Wolfman. Hell, I'd even say I don't think it's like amazing, okay? I would probably put it, I think I gave it like a 4 out of 5, which is good. But even I had problems with the movie. And I'll tell you one of those problems that I really had with the movie right now is Charlotte, played by Julia Garner. I loved where they were going with this character, that she has sort of this disconnect with her husband and especially her daughter. And she expresses that in the beginning of the movie, that it does bother her. So I did want, and by the way, we're going to talk about some spoilers in this, but I did want them to have some sort of payoff with her and her daughter at the end. Yes, they were coming together. They had to be together to fight her husband, who was turning into a wolf or a monster. Oh, and real quick, before we go any further, please hit the subscribe button. Let's kick this channel into the stratosphere. I think we can do that. I have a great freaking community, great patrons, great channel members, and I really appreciate you guys. So if you're new here, it's a good family, so hit the subscribe button. But I think they could have added a cherry on top of all that at the end, showing that the two of them are extremely close now after all of this, right? But again, let me stress this, okay? This is more of just an observational video. This is not me stating that, no, this movie is great, and if you didn't like it, then you don't get it. I'm not saying that at all. You got the movie. This is about, I guess, what you were wanting going into the movie, and that's fine. It's fine to go into any movie wanting to be entertained and wanting it to have, A, B, and C. That's completely fine. The mistake they made with this movie is that it is the Wolfman. And I think a lot of the audience out there, they went into this movie expecting a Universal Monsters movie, expecting the Wolfman to show up probably earlier than he did, and expecting him to have more of a traditional look. Yes, take some liberties, make it your own, but don't veer too far away from the look of the original Wolfman. I think people do confuse the traditional look of a werewolf and the Wolfman. They are two different creatures. Like, you could take American Werewolf in London. that werewolf does look different than the Wolf Man. I guess he's considered a werewolf, but I think the modern look of werewolves stems back from the American Werewolf in London. I'm sure that there were more before that. I haven't done my homework. Did The Howling come out before American Werewolf in London? I'm not sure, but I think that's the movie that really kicked the doors open in terms of what a werewolf should look like. And I'm not sure if the audience went into this movie wanting it to look like that particular, we just had Werewolves that came out in December, right? Those had that look. Underworld, the Lycans, they had that look. I definitely didn't want that look in this movie. Now, Christopher Abbott was fantastic in this movie. I think even most people that don't like the movie would have to admit he was really great. And I think even if you don't like this movie, I think this is going to do good things for Christopher Abbott's career. I've been following him since Girls. He was in Girls, but he was also in Possessor, and he's been in a few other things, and he always shines. It Comes at Night, he was in that. I think there are some that still aren't familiar with him, and that's normal. I saw like a couple of reviews, one review stating that he's a discount Mark Ruffalo. Get the fuck out of here with that. Okay, Mark Ruffalo wishes he was as good as Christopher Abbott, okay? Maybe I went too far with that, okay? They're just two different types of actors. But I don't think we should call any actor a discount version of another actor. I think Jesse Plemons, when he first came out, people were calling him the discount Matt Damon. And I think they are regretting that now because Jesse Plemons has definitely carved a path for his own style. And he's a phenomenal actor. Christopher Abbott is the same thing, I think. Now, let me tell you what I'd say loved. I did love certain aspects of this movie. The thing that hooked me really early on was the relationship between Blake and his daughter, Ginger, played by Matilda Firth, who I thought was really excellent in this. And I think that is kind of your glue that holds the movie together throughout. And there's these constant reminders and really touching moments where, he tells her that she's the most important thing to him. And I think the reason that Leigh Whannell was doing that was to really send it home that, okay, now this thing that loves me and will do anything to protect me is trying to kill me. I thought that was extremely effective, and I think that's what hooked me about this movie. I wasn't wanting the werewolf to come out like immediately. And I think it was important to establish that early on in the movie so you get invested and you almost forget that, oh, by the way, this is going to be a monster movie. Also, I like the struggle that Blake had along the way of trying to, I don't know if he was trying to fight becoming what he was going to become, but his vision, his hearing was all slowly changing throughout, and his family was talking to him, but he could not understand them. This is the first time I've ever seen I guess from the monster's point of view and what he is seeing in real time. And I'll even say, and this is showing my age, but this did sort of remind me of the episode called Prometheus by the Incredible Hulk, the TV series, which, by the way, I've always been planning on reviewing that because I reviewed the episode with the two Hulks, and that is like my highest viewed review with well over 100,000 views. And I've always thought about doing another 2-part episode review for Prometheus, because in that episode, there's this meteor that hits, and David Banner, he comes in contact with it, and instead of changing quickly into the Hulk, he kind of stops midway. And so it's very similar to what they did in this movie, him realizing what's going on along the way and not quite being able to handle his wits about him, maybe not being able to hear or see properly. And that's what they did in this movie. And so maybe it was a little bit of nostalgia that was grabbing me and making me enjoy this much more than a lot of people did. The Fly, also, I'm a massive, massive fan of David Cronenberg's The Fly, and how that movie kind of deals with similar themes of this young couple who love each other dearly and having to watch the one you love slowly turn into a monster. And I think Gina Davis did a far better job than Julia Garner did in this movie. Not to say I didn't like Julia Garner. I'm always rooting for her. I think she is a phenomenal actress. If you've never seen Ozark, do yourself a favor. She is insanely good in that show. I think she's had a few misses along the way in terms of her movie picks. But I did enjoy her in this. I just think they needed that payoff at the end of the movie. And I did see some complaints about like chemistry between her and Blake. That was kind of the point. They were losing. They literally stated at the beginning of the movie that their marriage is in trouble. Blake told her, should we stick this out? Should we get a divorce? I don't even know if he said the word divorce, but he was basically pleading with her that our marriage is in trouble and we need to fix this. Part of the reason any marriage has trouble is because of chemistry. They're not gelling well. And I think that was the purpose of this movie. They didn't have chemistry. That's why they were having so much trouble with each other. And I've complained about family drama in movies before. If it doesn't really serve that much of a purpose and it sort of just gets in the way, then it can be annoying. But I think it was used properly in this because it was a major plot point. You have this couple near divorce, and then one of them is turning into a monster, a werewolf. And how's that going to play out? To me, that's very, very interesting. And I can see how some, especially some that might be single, this just doesn't really connect with them. I happen to be a guy with a daughter, and I have a granddaughter who I adore with all my heart. And there were a couple moments in this movie that I teared up because it made me think of my little Delilah. I love her to death. And the young girl in this movie, she reminded me of her. And I can just imagine that if my little Delilah saw her papa start turning into a monster, and scaring her and just trying to stop myself from hurting her, all that stuff connected with me. Last thing I want to talk about is Leigh Whannell, and a director with a vision. And he is the type of director that if he takes an IP that's already been done before, more times than not, he's going to try to put his own spin on it, sometimes slightly, sometimes drastically. And I think he did that with Invisible Man. He definitely does that with this. What if I take this property and just make it my own story, make it over one night, and present this family that they're in deep, deep, deep shit, and this, this strained relationship with this father. I love directors like that take risks. Yes, they don't always land, but I like that they at least took the swing. They tried something different, because did I want another rehash of the original Wolfman? Personally, no. But I understand, guys, for those of you that this movie just did not click with you. Again, I'm not trying to tell you that you should have liked this, that you're wrong. I personally fight for the fact that movies, they're art, and they're going to affect people in different ways. You could have two people that like a movie for different reasons, but they both like the movie. That's just the effect of art. It's not a cheeseburger. I guess sometimes it can be a cheeseburger if you're like a Michael Bay movie or something. But I saw the artistic merit in this for sure. And I kind of like that it's split down the middle. I kind of like that it wasn't a crowd pleaser. I tend to gravitate towards those types of films, and they tend to stay with me longer down the road. Like, say, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I love it more and more and more as time goes by. And I guess I'm just that type of movie watcher, right? And there is some artistic stuff out there that doesn't click with me, that's just way too weird for me, like Skinamarink, right? I'm not that guy that says, oh, if it's artsy, then I automatically am going to love it. No, I'm going to call it like I see it. If it bores me, I don't care how artistic it is, it's boring. Not to say that this movie is like overly artistic or anything. It's still kind of a popcorn movie, but it definitely has a pulse and it definitely has a heart. So yeah, I want you guys to get in the comment. I want you to talk to me about expectations versus reality. Do you think it can affect your opinion on any movie? That's what I want to talk about that with you guys in the comments, okay? I'm not here to say I'm right. I like my community, and I like when we can actually get together and maybe discuss why this person liked the movie over this person hating the movie, and maybe trying to find a middle ground and understanding, right? Instead of just constantly throwing out the word "it's trash" and then not giving you a reason. Yes, I've called movies trash before, but I always back it up by giving you a reason, right? It's fun to call movies trash. We want to click on it. I understand that, but back it up. Even in the comments, if you say this movie is trash, LOL, below that, tell me why it's trash, okay? Break it down for me. I love that stuff. So, yeah, guys, that's the end of the topical video for this. This movie has definitely been on my mind ever since I saw it a few days ago, And I'm looking forward to reading your thoughts, okay? Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do Free For All Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on my social. Support me on Patreon. Become a channel member. Buy me a coffee. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. And Drumdum out.